Thank you to Surfshark who are sponsoring today's video. Hello and welcome to another video. I'm Paul Lucas and today I am at Mexico City's airport. Just landed here in fact from Los Angeles with Aeromexico, a lovely flight on board their 737. Today I'm going to be heading off in a few hours time to São Paulo, Brazil, and I'm going to be checking out Aeromexico's beautiful 787-9 Dreamliner in business class. I can't wait for it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get going. I had a layover of some 4 hours here at Mexico City Airport. The first thing I noticed is the unusual architecture in the roof. It looks like these small holes in the roof are windows that allow natural light in, but heat to escape. Aeromexico have two lounges, which are almost identical in this part of the terminal. They're both located up on the mezzanine level, and you need to take a lift or the stairs to get there. Unfortunately, being based where they are inside the terminal, these lounges don't really have any kind of apron or runway view, but even so they're decently located and none of the boarding gates are more than 5 or 10 minutes walk. The lounge here in Mexico City is far from the most photogenic I've ever captured on this channel. It was also really busy for the duration of the time I was in the lounge, and there are loads of plasma screens all playing sports or news, and all of them have the volume on, which is a somewhat confusing aesthetic for a lounge. There's a slightly quieter area downstairs on the lower level, and towards the back of this area is probably the lounge's standout feature, a full-service spa. The spa is actually run by a third party and isn't free, however the prices are extremely cheap. Think about a third of the price that you would pay in the United States or Europe. I had a full body massage for 40 minutes, which was absolutely delightful and really helped break up my stay in the lounge. Anyone getting a spa treatment also gets complimentary access to the shower suites. I guess my main criticism of this lounge was the food and drink offering. I found most of the food options to be pretty uninspiring and not particularly appetizing. Fortunately, it was just lunch that I was after, so I didn't have to have a very heavy meal. The food is something I definitely want to see Aeromexico improve in the future. Just heading down to gate 56 now for tonight's flight down to São Paulo, Brazil. Just a couple of things you should be aware of if you're using Mexico City Airport. Firstly, it's not a particularly large airport. There is just two terminals here in Mexico City. It's not on the same scale as Los Angeles or JFK or say Frankfurt or Heathrow, despite being the national capital. So revise your expectations downwards. It's not an enormous hub, and there aren't as many eating places or high-end shops as you might expect in some of those places I mentioned. The other thing is, if you're transiting here, there's a bit of an unusual procedure where you have to actually enter the country first and then sort of come back out of it again. There's no like airside transfer lane. You have to actually immigrate into the country, fill out the landing card, and then leave the country. You get stamped out as you depart. Aeromexico, like most legacy airlines, use a boarding group system. They have 5 different boarding groups. Of course, having a business class ticket will guarantee you Zone 1 boarding, so you'll be one of the first on board. As I mentioned earlier, today's video is sponsored by Surfshark, an award-winning virtual private network, or VPN. My favourite use of Surfshark is in leveraging lower airfares. As you can see here, I'm searching for a flight between London and San Francisco, and it's coming up at over £300 return. However, if I log into Surfshark and spoof my location from Brazil, I magically save over £100 on the return airfare with no effort at all. That's because airlines price and make available their tickets based on who they think you are, where you're signing in from, which country you're based in, and how much they think you're willing to pay. Another great feature of Surfshark's VPN is the fact that it makes travelling abroad a hell of a lot safer. You should always turn on your VPN when you're travelling abroad, because logging onto the local Wi-Fi without the VPN enabled is as good as sharing your data with strangers. The great news is Surfshark have teamed up with me to get you 83% off and 1 month free. Go to surfshark.deals/wingingit and enter code WINGINIT at checkout to take advantage of this exclusive offer. Meanwhile, back in Mexico City, it's time to board our 787-9 Dreamliner that'll take us all the way down to São Paulo in Brazil. There are actually two business class cabins on this aircraft. The forward one has 30 seats in a 1-2-1 configuration, and the smaller mid cabin has only 6 seats, again in the same configuration. Directly behind, with the light coloured headrests, is Aeromexico Plus, the first 3 rows, and behind that, Economy. My first impressions of the cabin were really positive. The cabin was absolutely spotless, and I really like the colour scheme, which is muted without being too drab. It's small touches like leaving all of the storage compartments open so you can find them easily when you board that really differentiate a good crew from an excellent one. I deliberately chose a seat in the second, smaller cabin of this aircraft. My experience is that whenever aircraft have 2 business class cabins, choose the smaller, usually the most rearward one. This is generally a lot quieter, has more empty seats, and you may get more personal service as a result. After a quick pre-departure glass of water, we were soon pushing back on our way to Brazil. One of the things I've found living in Europe, and specifically the UK, is that your idea of world geography can be really distorted. When I found out that it was nearly 10 hours flying time between Mexico and Sao Paulo, I was really surprised. In fact, this flight took a little longer than normal for a reason you'll find out a little bit later. It's 4,609 miles between the two cities. These seats are variants of the Super Diamond seat, which you can find on WestJet and Air Canada, amongst other airlines. It's a really solid seat that contains all of the features that you would expect from a direct aisle access seat. However, this being a 787, the windows can be dimmed, as they are here, centrally by the cabin crew to enforce darkness on the cabin. I'm in two minds about this. On the one hand, in business class, everyone who needs to sleep has access to eye shades, so it seems a little bit unnecessary. On the other hand, passengers in economy don't have the same privilege, so I kind of support them turning the cabin dark. In theory, the darkness should help you sleep a bit better, so I do understand why the airlines do this. There are a couple of minor differences between this seat and those I've sat in with Air Canada and WestJet. Firstly, there's no coat hook on the console in front, and secondly, there's a really handy lip between the seat and the window, which stops objects from falling down the side. There's also a movable armrest which has storage within it, as well as a free bottle of water. Definitely something I really appreciate on an overnight flight. These seats are also really private. Angled away from the aisle, the little wing back here on the seat means that you don't see any other passengers in the cabin, and they can't see you of course either. There's a large and sturdy table which will help you get work done and will house even the biggest of laptops. However, there was no Wi-Fi whatsoever on this journey. I'm pretty sure it's fitted to this aircraft, but for some reason it just wasn't functioning for the duration of the trip. A bit of a disappointment. The bathroom just in front of the business class cabin where my seat was really big. The size is a definite advantage if you're planning on getting changed into a new set of clothes or pyjamas in here. There's also a nice touch in a little fake plant left in the plant holder, which you don't always see. If you saw earlier that the food and beverage service on the ground was a bit disappointing, the opposite was true in the air. I found Aeromexico's menu for dinner to be really inspiring, and the quality of the food was absolutely outstanding. The crew were also on top form, thoroughly professional and happy to help with any request that a passenger had. The food presentation was very good, and this som tam papaya salad is a Thai dish which I'd never tasted before. It was utterly delicious. For the main course, I went for the glazed beef short rib. The portion sizes were pretty good, and it came with a green side salad and a really tasty sweet sauce. This is one of the best meals I've had this year in any class of travel. The expression on my face here, I think, says everything you need to know. I know what you're thinking, but yes, this ice cream was ready to eat straight after opening. Overall, a superb meal service, and it makes you wonder why Aeromexico can't replicate this level of excellence on the ground. The menu also advertises Premier Space, which is basically long-form marketing speak for an onboard bar. It's pretty nicely laid out with a few spirits on offer, and everything is self-service, including this water and coffee machine. I found the coffees from this to be pretty good actually. The whole meal service was concluded just a couple of hours after takeoff. Then it was time to peruse the amenity kit. I thought the bag was pretty good quality and I'd never actually heard of this brand before. Inside, the amenity kit contains pretty much everything you'd expect on a flight of this sort of length, but a special shout out to two features in particular. Number one, a pen, which is going to be very useful for filling out those customs forms on arrival, and number two, this really nice silk eye mask. The seat of course reclines into a fully flat bed and bedding is provided. I found the bed to be very comfortable and I got a solid 6 hours of sleep on this flight. I woke up with a couple of hours still to go until our arrival in São Paulo. I was impressed again with the breakfast menu. There were 4 separate choices accounting for every possible taste. However, I am going to nitpick the ultimate first world problem. With breakfast, as is common with many airlines, only one spoon is provided, so you're supposed to eat your yogurt and stir your coffee with the same spoon. I'm sure this is just an oversight, but it really bothers me. I went for the fruit and pancakes for breakfast, and just like the main course last night, it didn't disappoint. The pancakes were lovely, light and fluffy, and came with a really sweet and tart fruit compote. Now, if you follow my channel regularly, you'll know that one of my favourite things on the in-flight entertainment is the route map, and it's something that I look at very often wherever I'm flying. I couldn't help but notice that as we approached the south of Brazil, we were actually heading towards Rio de Janeiro, and our destination seemed to have changed. The pilot soon chipped in to explain what was happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the captain's deck, just to inform you, we continue now flying to Rio de Janeiro. Due that São Paulo is closed on minimums. Well, they're calling us right now again. They're telling us Wylde is operating again, so we can make an approach. So just disregard. We'll continue now to Wylde Airport. Aeromexico Soloviev.
So, in a nutshell, São Paulo was closed due to very poor weather, and we were originally diverting to Rio, only for the airport to call them back and say, actually, we're open now. Anyway, the weather in São Paulo was utterly horrendous. The landing was also pretty hairy. Keep an eye on the runway edge lights as we touch down here, and you'll see just how far to the right of the centre of the runway we landed. It was certainly a bit disconcerting. I had moderate expectations coming into this flight. The ground experience was so-so, and it was a big disappointment that Wi-Fi wasn't available on my flight. However, in just about every other area, Aeromexico significantly exceeded my expectations, especially with the onboard food service. I bought this flight one way on special offer, £766 sterling, or about $925 US. In the grand scheme of things, I would consider that a real bargain. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if it's your first time watching any of my videos, please consider subscribing for more content just like this every week. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you around.